If you're looking for a home to buy or needing to sell in the Rockwall, Texas area, just east of Dallas, have I got someone great to introduce you to? We go way back, and I'm super excited to introduce you to Jimmy Duquette. Hey, I'm Nate Carver, and welcome to Between Two Doors. Hey,
How you
Jimmy.
doing? Man, Nathan, how are you doing?
I'm good. Welcome to the Between Two Doors podcast, and this is going to be a fun one. And so little background story. We went to the same university, and out in Hardin Simmons University, out in Abilene, Texas,
Yeah.
and we both pledged the same fraternity. I think you're a little bit older than me. No, I
Yeah,
think
we're
my
just on that tail end of each other there.
Yeah, so I was in there a little bit before you. Anyway, so let's introduce the world to you. Jimmy, great reconnecting with you. I did not know you were in the real estate space until about 2 months ago, and so we were like, we got to do a podcast. We got to catch up, tell stories on each other. Tell me about your journey. So obviously, we did Hardin Simmons, the university life together. That arc from school to now, where you have your own brokerage.
Yeah, team leader here at the Keller Williams Rockwall office. There's a part of me, you said, man, didn't know you were all these years, didn't know that you were in real estate. And I've been in real estate 18 years now. Where we connected online, Nathan, and that's where we ultimately kind of drew all the dots together. And that was kind of a real recent deal with me was, I stayed away from social media, and all of a sudden, a lot of things just changed in life. I was decided have to jump into the space. And
Yeah.
so that's been the biggest difference in it all. So hopefully more people see me and uh, get to know me a little bit more. But no, it's been a crazy kind of ride to the spot. Graduating out of Hardin Simmons, kind of plugged in, and what was that, 2005? Just trying to kind of figure out my feet. And after a couple of years of just working, I don't know, 3 or 4 jobs at a time. Got plugged in with a guy that was running for state representative out in Plainview,
Hmm.
and did some things out there, which ultimately got me working with Rudy Giuliani, running for president. And then after that was all over, I mean, really quick synopsis of it all, got plugged into real estate and been doing that for the last right about 18 years now.
Wow, 18 years in it. And Rudy Giuliani, well, he just survived
Yeah.
major heart issues too. So, wow. So from politics to real estate, what did you major in college?
Marketing. Yeah.
Marketing. Well, there you
Marketing.
go.
Yeah.
So you're using that in your business, I
Yeah.
know. Well, I majored in Bible and and English literature, and so it just makes sense that I'm a mortgage lender. So,
Yeah.
so I guess, and so how we get to where we get to. So in that time, let's jump back a little bit further. So our college years, without telling too much on each other, our fraternity life, I want to be clear, we were in a fraternity and not a frat.
Yeah.
And the connotations there. Um, I know it's got to be true to you. I think that it's a small group of men, and um, some of my closest friendships have come out of that time frame and or that season of life to this day. That there's a handful of guys that I turn to, and
Yeah.
and we keep in touch. Of course, we all have families now and kids, and what's a memory you could share? I'm really curious as in the fraternity life, what we think are traditions were new to us or guinea pig tested on us, and what maybe a favorite memory that you did in the fraternity stuff.
Man, you know, Nathan, the thing that just pops off the top of my head, it's nothing that's just a funny anecdote or anything that we kind of did. I mean, there is a lot of silly things that happen. Uh, man, some of them I'm not sure how much I can talk about, but you know, I think one of the funny you were talking about just those memorable having those friendships that lasted so long. You know, when you're pledging, you're always spending so much time together, and
Mm-hmm.
after pledging was over, I mean, for years, like the guys that I'm friends with now that we do things on a regular basis, you know, we're across the state, sometimes across the
Mm-hmm.
world from each other. And you know, it's all about spending time together. And so there were so many times that I can remember in college where we'd have a movie night, and instead of going back to whatever room that we were in the house, everybody just kind of like pull a sleeping bag in, and we just kind of like post up there. And then that would happen for like 5 nights in a row. Everybody just live in that one room, just because
Mm-hmm.
we were having so much fun hanging out with each other. I think it's those small moments that mean just a ton to me that I remember a lot of.
Right. What in the what do you think along your journey has been most impactful in your real estate career?
Um, you know, I think just the fact of being in that fraternity helped me get out of a pretty big comfort zone that I was in.
Right.
Uh, you know, it forced you to talk with a bunch of different people and in all sorts of different walks of life. Coming from small town Rockwall, you know, you were kind of in a little bubble, and going out to Abilene, you're still kind of in a little bit of a bubble.
Yeah.
Um, but you were around so many different personalities and so many different walks of life. And I think that helped me kind of understand people a little bit better, and how
Yeah.
to understand them, and understand where they're coming from, and ask more questions, and uh, just how to get along and understand that, hey, we don't have to see eye to eye all the time, and this is how we get to some sort of common ground.
Yeah. Tell me in the when you were in the political world, I guess what did it open you up to um that you bring into your real estate business?
Yeah, man, Nathan, almost along the same lines. It was how to have fun with people, though.
Yeah.
I remember getting thrown into that. And at the time, Tom Hicks was the owner of the Rangers and Stars and all the like. Tom Hicks was the biggest guy in sports, and he was our
Yeah.
chairperson for the campaign. And then right below him, we dealt a lot with Boone Pickens. And so it was a really, really intimidating room to get into. And you realize really quick, just, I don't know, I felt like I was over my head for the most part. But you got to hang out with these guys on a much different level than probably most other people might be able to. So it was really just understanding that, man, we're all there to have like we can have these just off the cuff conversations and just have fun with each other. And so it's just realizing how to cut loose and have a real conversation. But I'll tell you, there was this lady, she died a few years back, and her name was Carol Reed. And Carol
Hmm.
will always hold this special place in my heart. And we would kind of travel around Texas together, down between the triangle of kind of going down to Houston and over to San Antonio and up to Austin. And uh, we always drove that. And she would tell me so many stories. I mean, she'd been in politics for 50 years. I think I voted once in my life, maybe. And so just all the different things that she would tell me, and some of them were political, some were just human behavior. And you know, she told me this one story, and to this day, after I get off a phone conversation, I always check like 3 or 4 times to make sure my phone hung up, because just some of those goofy stories she'd tell me, but you just carry those along with you because they have real practical meaning to what we do every day.
Good. Um, how did you get into the politics? Like, I mean, outside of watching the news and going and voting, I don't, I'd be curious to know. It's got nothing to do with real estate, but
No, I'd honestly never voted before. I don't think I'd barely watched any like voting coverage or election coverage. Uh, I was I was sitting in my room one day, and like I said, I was working like 3 or 4 jobs, and I'd
Mhm.
go from starting out the day at 4 in the morning or 3 in the morning, unloading trucks at Target, and then I go and work at an electric company for about 3 or 4 hours, and then I could work at ESPN radio, and I was doing all these different things, and I was just burned out. And again, one of those guys that went to college with, I texted him one day. I was like, "Man, I just need to get out of town.
Yeah.
What can you help me with?" And he set me up with a job. Well, he set me up with an interview, and I blew the interview. I mean, in the first 30 seconds, the guy asked me about our state representative here in Rockwall, and I had no idea who he was talking about. And he just hung his head low, and right then and there, he just called me out on it. He goes, "You know nothing about politics, do you?" And I laughed and told him, "No, but I'm a great worker, and I learned really quick." And so that's
Yeah.
how I got plugged into politics. It was just
Wow.
needed a change, and but it's crazy how just the dominoes just started falling after that. You put yourself in a
Yeah.
situation to succeed and do something, and if you're patient enough with it, how things just kind of come to fruition.
Right. So, okay, we're gonna shift gears a little bit. So you decided to go from the political space to real estate in if my math is right, about 2008.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
everybody knows 2008 was a tough year. I know personally because that is whenever I stepped out of the military. I completed my time in the military in 2008 and had the bright idea to go join the civilian world. And then the market crashed. And so I was like, oh my gosh, it was brutal. Um, but you jumped into the real estate space in 2008, and I can tell you, I know there was a lot of people getting out of real estate in the lending world,
Yeah.
in the on the real estate as real estate agent side too. But you jumped in. I want to know why. What were you thinking in 2008, if you can recall?
I wasn't thinking. I had no idea we were even in a crash. Like I said, I
Yeah.
wasn't political. I didn't watch the news. And so there, I walked into that office the very first day, Nathan, and I had this older gentleman, Barry Buchanan, kind of walk up to me, and he looked at me and he goes, "You're getting into real estate, don't you know everybody's getting out?" And I kind of shook my head. I was like, "I have no idea. Why are they getting out?"
Yeah.
But we get into a market kind of how we're in now, and I stopped telling people that, good, bad markets aren't good or bad. They're just challenging.
Mm-hmm.
In 2020, 2021, when we're doing all these multiple offers, it was a good market, but it was
Right.
challenging, right? We just deal with various challenging markets. And
Yeah.
so getting into a market like that helped me realize that, because there was still success to be had. You just had to do things a little bit differently. And so that's kind of the thing, that it doesn't matter if you're transitioning to 2013, going into that 21 market, or you're in the market we're in right now. There's a success code there, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just challenging. You have to figure out the pieces of that puzzle.
Right. Yeah. Necessity is the mother of all inventions. And I remember I decided for me, I was going to succeed. I didn't care what everybody else was doing. They were getting out. They were getting out. And, I needed a paycheck, I needed an income.
Yeah.
And so I had mouths to feed. So I was like, we have to do this. And, good for you. Any, from anything from there, like a leadership lesson that you might have learned in moving out of that into the different phases of what the world is doing and what the markets do that you don't have any control over, but you do
That's
have
the
control
biggest
over
thing.
yourself, right?
Yeah, you said it. You don't have any control over it. And there's a couple things that I've talked about here recently with agents, and One of them is having a plan B. Like, what's your
Mm-hmm.
plan B? Because that's where agents start going wrong. And I don't think it's just realtors. I think it's just people in general, you know? Once you kind of figure out that I've got this fallback option, I've got this plan B, you're already 1 foot out. And to what you said a second ago of I needed a paycheck and I was going to make this work, that's the
Mm-hmm.
headspace you got to get into. And it's not always comfortable. It's not always fun. It's not always what you see on HGTV. It is hard work. And so it's just putting all those eggs in that basket and going, no, if I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail giving it my all. There is no plan B. Burn the ships. There's no
Yeah.
turning back from this one.
Yeah, I tell you, I watch the HGTV shows and I reference them a lot. I find them quite comical. It's just being in the lending space. I'm like, oh my gosh. So, they're pretty fun for me. All right. So, well, let's see some of those struggles that shaped you. So you're coaching your team. Um, we're in a changing market now, and
Yeah.
regardless of world current events or whatever, there's new technologies out there, AI being one of them. And I know there's a lot of lenders and realtors that are intimidated by it or ignoring it at their own peril, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Um, But for me, I see this as a pivot point. I got a plan, and then I look at the plan, then I see AI, and I'm like, well, we're pivoting. We've got to address this, and I look at it in ways. And well, how do I use the AI stuff to benefit the client, the home buyer, as a lender, and my realtor partners? And what are effective ways to do that? Have y'all started using AIs? And I mean, there's 100,000 different types out there, right? Every day there's
Yeah.
a new one. But I'm just curious if there's any mechanisms that y'all have already started implementing to help your clients find a home, sell their home, or
Yeah, that's been something fun we've been working on over the last, I don't know, I guess month now, is
hmm
really hopping into, well, right now we're using Cloud Code. And so
yeah,
everything live and local gets to know you really well. Um, but we were sitting around and we've been building just, you know, trying to own our own software basically. And
yeah,
so what is that way that we can have that uh, best customer experience? Um, and like all those little things, right? How can we take care of all those little things in life? And so it's been working through. And so we asked a question a few weeks ago of what are all the ways that we're not using AI right now that we should be looking into. And so it started diving into some really interesting areas of, you know, between using AirPods while you're showing a house and it can actively receive the feedback that the clients are giving, help you talk to the client and either validate that concern that they have, or if that house isn't going to work for them and they have a new direction they want to go, will it be able to give you feedback on, well, here's 3 other houses in the area they should probably consider giving that feedback. And so there's so many different changes that are happening. And by time, look, in a week, that may be a mainstream technology everybody's using at the rate that everything's kind of flying right now. But
right.
I think that's one of those AI it will. I think there's a realm where it's going to replace different people. It's going to open up more jobs. But I think in the terms of you and I, it only really replaces us if we don't embrace it. You know,
Yeah.
it makes you better, it makes you smarter. There's a lot of thought that still has to go into it. So it's one of those places that embrace it and it just opens up an entire new world.
Yeah, I see it. It's a great tool, and in our industry, in the real estate industry, I don't foresee. I mean, it is the biggest purchase thing a family is going to do,
Yeah.
and I don't see the personal relationship of a real estate agent or a lender being replaced.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, what you just said there, it's relational, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest misconception that so many people that get into real estate, or whether you're a realtor, you're in mortgage, that it's not just a transaction. The biggest piece that you have in real estate is that relationship, and that's how you really build a long-lasting career. Is you develop relationships, and there's nothing that can truly replace that relationship. I mean, there's so much trust that's there.
Yeah. So let's see, back in like 2013, I've got cheat notes over here. So back in 2013, you partnered with Patty Turner,
Yeah.
and y'all ended up building what, a top team in North Texas?
Yeah. So I actually started working with her in 2008, right when I got in.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
she was my mentor, uh, helped me get started in real estate. I mean, really pushed me through real estate as many times as I thought about getting out. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, in 2013, that market started to shift. And I can remember right around that March going into the summer, that spring market, there was so much business that just started spilling out, and we couldn't keep up with the demand. And so uh, she was just giving business to agents, just telling them, here, just don't drop the ball, work with this person, they're ready to go. And
Yeah.
we got through that and got it to the fall and realized if we've got this business that's coming through, we ought to look at starting a team. And so we discussed what that was going to look like. And from there, we started a group. We started with about 4 people. I think we did about 30 million, that 28, 30 million that first year, to where this last year we did 145 million. And within the KW system, we were a top five group in the region, or top two.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great. Good for y'all. So what are some leadership ideas that you've learned through building that team out that influences your home buyers and home sellers?
Oh man, leadership that influences. I think probably the biggest one, Nathan, is not letting yourself get too caught up in the moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good or bad. There's this nice place in the middle where you don't react one way or the other. Yeah, that was another one of those things I learned in politics. But um, you know, there was this old Chinese proverb that I heard one time. My kids loved Bluey for a while, and I heard it on Bluey, and um, but it just kind of talked about, there's this Chinese farmer, and it said his horse ran away, and all the neighbors came around and said, "Oh man, this is so awful. I'm sorry the horse ran away." And the guy
Mm-hmm.
said, "Maybe." And so then the next day the horse came back, and they're just like, "Oh, what great luck! The horse came back." And he said, "Well, maybe." Well, then the next day the his son was riding the horse and got bucked off and broke his leg, and they were like, "Oh, this is horrible." He said, "Maybe." And then the next day, the Chinese officials came around drafting for a war, and they didn't take his son because his leg was broken. And so the whole point of it is that, yeah, there's a lot of good things that happen, a lot of bad things that happen, and we don't need to react on one side or the other. There's things that are going to happen in appraisals. There's going to be things that are happening in inspections, and your clients are going to have enough emotion in the whole transaction. You don't need to put more in that. You're that maybe, and
Yeah.
just helping them stay in that middle area.
Yeah. Always think that where your income, your finances and real estate intersect, having a great team put together, a great realtor, great lender put together helps make that a smooth and flawless experience at closing.
Yeah,
Sometimes getting to closing can be a challenge, but getting there, you know, signing a contract to buy a home may take 30 minutes.
yeah,
Um, and then it's history, and now you're a homeowner. Tell me, so you're a man of faith, family, and tell me,
yeah.
let's talk a little bit about your personal life, if you don't mind.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've got three boys. I've got twin 13-year-olds, a 12-year-old. Man, they keep me busy. Uh, we've lived here in Rockwall. I've been here since I was 6 years old. So the last 36 years I've been here in Rockwall. I've been part of the same church for about 30 years. So, it's been great to watch the church grow. It's been fun to watch the community grow. It's been fun now to see like the kids in the church and the community.
Yeah.
They're part of boys team charity. So watching them give back in a way that I never gave back as a kid. And it's just, I don't know. I love seeing them grow in the community, grow in the church. It's interesting just watching how uh, their tastes change and what the things that they
Yeah.
like, and all of a sudden they're like, "No, I don't like that anymore, Dad," and they're over here, and hearing how they talk about their faith in God and how they understand it. It's I don't know, it's very eye opening.
Right. Now they're young and you're young. You're not, you're younger than me. So I'm forever 29. So have you given much thought to legacy, what you'd like to leave behind? Like
Yeah.
or
I had a coach years ago and we were talking about legacy. And it came around to I love talking big why with agents. Like, why are you in business? Why do you do the things that you do? And for me, I started thinking about that. And it was, well, I want to leave a legacy. My dad died whenever I was 8, 9 years old. And so there wasn't a whole lot that he left behind. And
hmm
and so I always thought about that. And well, I want my real estate to leave a legacy for my kids. And when I got to talking about this with my coach, he kind of said, well, what if they don't want to get into real estate? And that really made me think hard about it because I always kind of thought, well, at least I've got three. One of them's going to want to get into real estate. But it's like, well, maybe not. I want them to do all the things that they want to do, and see where that takes them in life. And so it was the definition of, well, what does that legacy really look like, and how is it built, and what does it really mean? It's more than just real estate. It's how do you affix yourself as a pillar in the community, a pillar in the business, a pillar in church, and those are the types of things that kind of live on. And so legacy is a really interesting conversation to have.
yeah. So 18 years, if you can recall, what was your why when you first got into real estate? And I'm curious to see if your why is maybe modified a little bit.
It's modified a lot. When I got in, I didn't realize how much ego I had, but I had a ton of ego. And so the
Yeah.
why was all about ego. It was all about just proving people wrong because as I was transitioning out of politics, everybody told me, I think you're making a big mistake. They all knew that it was a bad market. I didn't. And so I had this big vendetta. I just wanted to prove people wrong. And I wanted to
Yeah.
just kind of force myself into a situation and be like, look, I can be successful no matter what. And yeah, it wasn't until I came over to KW and that big why conversation came up more often that I really started thinking about, no, why do I want to do this? And because I think I said it earlier, Nathan, it's kind of a tough business.
hmm
And there's a lot of times that I've looked around and been like, why am I doing this? I don't want to, I'm busting my butt. I'm working till midnight, 1 o'clock a lot of times. Uh, you have to have real purpose behind that. And, ultimately my purpose has changed, not to just building a legacy for my family that I can leave behind to them, but as it's kind of morphed over the last couple of years, I've added on to that to be a light in a dimming world, to make a
Yeah.
difference. And that difference may be small, but it kind of trickles across the community.
Yeah. Oh, I'm 100% convinced that this industry is a calling.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of lives that you can touch and change. Something about owning your own home, going from renter to ownership. Um, generational wealth accumulation through real
Yeah.
estate. Uh, you know, seeing somebody get their very first set of keys to their own house is
Yeah.
it feels really good, and especially when you put the work in and you got a solid product put together for them. When I go to closings, I see that, and it's exciting. It is really exciting. It's probably, I don't know, I've done a lot of really neat things in life, and this one really makes me feel good.
No, you hit
So,
the nail on the head.
to
Yeah,
be able to
that
be a part
closing,
of
that
that.
first house that they buy, there
Yeah.
is just something about that energy and that the look in their eyes. And a lot of times we catch people at transitions in their life, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that first home, and maybe marriage or a first kid or multiple kids and getting into a school district, or their
Yeah.
a loved one passing on. We get we're in touch with people at, man, just very specific points in their life, and you can have a very positive effect on those people and on yourself. But if you look
Yeah.
at it the right way, man, we have a tremendous opportunity in what we do.
Yeah. And it's not just, I don't know, let's be real conservative. Maybe it takes 30 days, 60 days from, hey, I want to buy a house to purchasing a home. That's not the end of it. You know,
Yeah.
it's I stay in touch with people, and I know you and your team do. You know, and so um those relationships just grow deeper, and so the house being a big piece of that. But post closing, there's a whole new life adventure out there with
Yeah.
them. So good, good. For everyone, I'm gonna do some rapid fire questions to you just to kind
All
of
right.
see what you're thinking. But if you're listening to the podcast and not watching it, behind you there's a couple of signed footballs and basketballs and a whole lot of baseball mugs up on the wall. So tell me who your favorite teams are and whose signatures you have. I mean, one I see the football. You got a lot of signatures. So tell me what
Yeah.
team do you have signed?
Man, Nathan, I am a tried and true Dallas fan. Uh,
Here you go.
for better or worse, I will
Yeah.
struggle through the Cowboys and be optimistic every year and curse them at the
Yeah.
end of the year. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, the football was signed. My wife had the opportunity to go to the Super Bowl in Miami, and she went to a Hall
Oh,
of Fame dinner. And
wow.
there was a lady she was with at that dinner and took her around to all the different tables. And so there's, I don't know, maybe about 40 different Hall of Fame signatures on it. And
Wow.
then got Jason Kidd and Dirk Nowitzki back behind me, up on another wall over here. I don't know. I've got about 20 or so baseballs just signed by all my favorite players from the 90s. And then all the
Yeah.
mugs are from stadiums that my dad and I visit.
Yeah. I met Dirk once.
Yeah.
Uh, tall, obviously, but dang. I mean, tell you meet him face to face, you don't realize how tall is.
Yeah.
I felt very short, and I'm 6. So anyway, that I was like, good gosh, you're tall. All right, so rapid fire questions. What's one leadership book everyone should read?
Uh, I got kind of a weird one. Not really weird. It's probably just not one most people say, but it's a 101 essays that will change the way you think.
Okay.
All right. And it's almost like reading through Psalms, right? You've just got a bunch of different story. I don't want to say it that way. You've got a bunch of different chapters, and some are long, some are small. And that's kind of the way through this book. It's not something you just kind of sit and just digest in a given week or something. You kind of take your time and churn through it. And if you
Hmm.
let it, yeah, it will absolutely kind of challenge the way you think, and in a good way. But
Okay.
I love challenging just thought processes in people.
Nice. What's one thing agents overcomplicate?
Everything. Um, I think one of the big thing I try to, it's the hardest thing for me to convey to people, but it's the beerability uh, that you can have with somebody, the ability that by the end of the conversation, they want to have a beer with you, right? And I think
Hmm.
people, they get too hung up in scripts and they don't just talk to somebody. By the end of that conversation, somebody should sit there with you and go, man, I just enjoy having a conversation. I want to have a beer with you. And so that's kind of the idea of don't overcomplicate it. Don't try to have that perfect script. People have problems, and sometimes we just need to ask the question, how are you doing right now?
Yeah. What's one habit that's had the biggest impact in your career?
Ooh, habit. Um, Man, I'm tough on habits. Um, Again, maybe kind of my morning routine of having coffee. I do coffee and have do like a crossword puzzle or a puzzle of some
Yeah.
sort. But puzzles are how I really kind of just unwind and break down. Uh, I don't know. I love being challenged to how to think and just have my mind work a different way than it has all day. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's probably not anything that is just real estate related, work related. It's the ability to kind of shift gears and do something that's a little bit different and make your mind go a different direction.
Yeah. I get up every morning. I sit on my back porch, sunrise, right? It's
Yeah.
picturesque for me. Got my cup of coffee for sure because that keeps me out of prison and quiet time and I'm just that's and I got my jams. My music
Yeah.
in the morning is it's a little it's a little bit of praise and worship and AC/DC. It makes
I
sense
was
in
going to
my
ask what
brain.
that mix is. I like
Yeah, I'm
it.
just saying, it's just it works up in my head. It works. So, uh, let's talk. So, North Texas, there's a lot happening up in North Texas. It's a hot market. Some of the fastest growing counties in the country. Tell me a little bit about Rockwall. What are you excited about in the area? That maybe people that are moving to Rockwall don't know about, or might not know about. And favorite restaurant, those two things.
Oh man, favorite restaurant. All right, yeah, it's all the growth. You look around and you can't look anywhere without seeing just wood going up in the air, right? And we've got
Yeah,
construction everywhere. And so while that makes for a challenging market right now, because a lot of the homes being sold, you can look on any stat sheet and there's a lot of new builds being sold. And so that causes one of those complications of one of those challenges we kind of talked about earlier. But when you look 5 years down the road, a lot of those homes are going to become resale. And so there's even more people that are looking at going to be a future client. And so as
yeah,
far as, if you're looking at moving to the area, you have a lot to choose from golf course communities to lakefronts, beautiful lakefronts, new
beautiful
builds,
lakefronts.
all
Yeah.
sorts of different types of communities here. It's pretty diverse. And then you've got the outer loop tollway that's just going to be coming in, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes from here out in Roy City, which will tie into the north side of the Metroplex. And so there's just a lot to look forward to in a lot of ways that we're growing. But that's the biggest one is growth. And that
Yeah.
favorite restaurant, we've got this little place, and it's a house in the middle of Old Rockwall, and it's just a burger place. You go there and you get a single or a
There
double
you go.
cheeseburger, and it's the grease. When you pull that out of the bag, I mean the wrapper is already just drenched in grease. It's called Boots
Oh, that's
Burgers. It's
Boots
amazing.
Burgers. We're gonna
Boots
plug Boots
Burgers.
Burger.
Yeah. If you're planning on coming through, it's only open at lunch. They serve until they're out, and you need to be there by 11:15 because you may not get served by 1 o'clock.
They're gonna run out.
Yeah, oh,
I
yeah,
bet they run out a bunch. I know of a place like that in Pensacola, Florida, and when they're out, they're out, and
yeah,
they run out before closing, and they're
yeah,
only open for lunch.
yeah. People start
Boots
calling in their
Burgers,
orders, and yeah, so you'll get there about 11 o'clock when they open, and you may not get served till about 11:45, 12 o'clock.
man, a good greasy hamburger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in. I'm down. I'll drive over to Rockwall, for that for sure. Well, what are you excited about in the future, looking ahead?
Oh, yeah, business wise, like I said, just the growth that's happening around. Um, but I think just bigger than that, my wife and I were looking at just moving to a different house here recently, and I was having kind of a hard time with it. And I couldn't figure out why I was having a hard time with it. And I finally came to the realization I was having such a hard time because the kids are getting older. And so I really started thinking about just the kids getting older and what does that mean and how do I want to interact with them differently. And so I think I'm excited about just change right now. Change
Yeah.
within the community, change with the family, even though that means different pains that come along with that.
Right.
Um, but it's those. My family excites me right now.
Good. So if someone's listening today, professionally or personally, if they feel stuck, what would you, any word of wisdom you might impart on them?
Yeah, I'll tell you, anybody that I ever talked to within real estate, I can talk X's and O's with you all day. I can tell you all the different numbers and what they mean and all the things to do. But the biggest question that we have to ask ourselves is why aren't we doing those things that we should do? Because I can go through them all and tell you if you want to do 20 transactions, you do this many open houses or call this many expireds. It doesn't mean anything until you figure out what I call the monster under the bed, right? Uh, there's always a fear that we have. And so when we go back to when we're 8, 9 years old, we were scared about the monster in the closet, the monster under the bed. And it wouldn't go away until we looked under the bed. We turned on the lights and we
Hmm.
revealed that there was nothing actually there. And so we had to fill our minds with the actual facts and details of what is true rather than what our mind just fills in the gaps with, which is that monster under the bed, because we didn't know what was under there before. And so
Right.
those are the biggest conversations I have of what are those things that are holding you back? And we're so hesitant, I think, as adults, as to just say that we have those flaws or what those flaws are. And the quicker that we are of saying that, I don't like how Colin Abisbo makes me feel, or whatever it may be, that's fine. We named it. We can either get better at it or we find something else to do, but we get better nonetheless. Yeah, we
Yeah.
just got to name those things.
All right. Well, we're about out of time. So tell me, if anybody's listening today, you think they want to, are looking at moving to Rockwall or needing to sell a home in the Rockwall area, how can they best get a hold of you?
Yeah, I think I gave you all my different socials I've got. You can always
Yep.
DM me across any of those accounts. Uh, Hit me up on my cell phone, email, whatever it may be. Uh, there's so many different ways you can get a hold
There
of
are. I'm gonna link them all, so
Awesome.
they'll be down wherever you're consuming this. There'll be links. I'll get those put together, and when I get this published, Jim, brother, thank you. So
Nathan, this was fun,
if,
buddy.
yeah, if we had so our old fraternity life, we we used to get together at the end of our little meetings, and we all circle up and we'd sing this our fraternity song, which I do not know. It's been a minute. Um, but well, I think the minimum you had to have three. So if we get one of the other guys on, we'll sing. We'll sing a song.
That'd be fun. I like to see that.
Yeah, we're not gonna sing. So, thanks, Timmy, for sharing your stories and your wisdom. You've got a great team in the Rockwall area, and I hope I wish you nothing but more success or continued success. Thanks for being on the Between Two Doors podcast.
Thank you, buddy. Good talking with you.